Hello, are you having some problems with your middle register notes on the flute? If you are, you're not alone. There is a different shape to the embouchure when you go up on the flute in the registers. There are 3 registers on the flute: the low register, the middle register and the high register. The low register is the one that most people start with from their tutor books. So you first of all learn B, A, G, and then F, and then E. Now sometimes the tutor book goes down a bit further and shows you D, low D, and low C, but those are actually quite difficult notes to produce as a beginner because they are quite a long way away from the embouchure hole. You see, the air has to travel all the way down here for the note to speak. So normally these notes here are the easiest to produce, B, A and G. So you'll probably go down to bottom E, and then most tutor books go up into the middle register. So after you've played C, now that requires you to balance the flute effectively, of course, and to have the right hand position because there's no thumb. So you need to make sure that your hand position is correct for the C. And then you've got C sharp, and then you've got D. Now the D is in the middle register. So it's like the low D, but you raise your first finger, and there's no little finger on the end. So you've still got your thumb, and then you have these 2 fingers and these 3. Now, this register goes up until the next B. And then it goes into the high register, which is different again. So in the low register, this tiny aperture hole that you have in your lips is a little bit sort of elliptical. It's flatter for the low register. But when you get into the middle register, it needs to be rounder and smaller. And you need to make sure that the air travels faster. So if you think about having a hose pipe and you have no water pressure on it, but you want the water to travel faster and further down the garden, then you would squeeze the hose and it will make the water travel faster. So you're trying to do that really. The problem is that if you squeeze, then it will sound thin and squeaky. You need to train your muscles so that they go into a small hole. The best way of getting this is to push your jaw forward like that, because when you do that, the hole gets smaller automatically without you squeezing or anything. So you need to practice this movement. This isn't a movement that you naturally do in everyday life, really. So there are some exercises you can do to help you with that. So imagine that you're blowing upwards and you're trying to blow your nose. Now, keep that movement, but try and lower the airstream a bit so that it's horizontal. The air has to travel straight ahead when you're playing in the middle register. In the low register, it goes down, so you're blowing downwards like that. Middle register, it goes straight across, and the hole is smaller. Just to give you some idea about how small the aperture hole should be. That's your aperture hole, and this is the embouchure, okay? Your aperture hole needs to be about as small as a piece of spaghetti. That's how small it needs to be to really sound good. That's how small it is for professional flute players. A lot of amateur flute players don't realise how small the aperture hole really needs to be. So that's what you're aiming for. You need to practice with a mirror to see if the hole is nice and small, but you mustn't squeeze like that, because otherwise the sound will go and you won't get a good sound at all. Also, don't blow harder that doesn't work either. The only thing that really works is to push your jaw forward. So you need to practice this. To see if it's working, you can practice in front of a mirror, but also you can actually see the flute move forward. So you could play a low E, and as you can see, as soon as I push my jaw forward, it goes up into the next E. So that's how you get the middle register notes. You blow straight ahead, but you push your jaw forward. Keep your head still at the same time as well. So you can experiment with that. Now the other challenge is being able to read the notes. So if you've had some success at reading the notes in the low register, you'll remember that the E, the F, the G and the A start on the bottom line. So E is on the first line of the stave and the F is on the first space. Now the funny thing with music is that when you go up an octave, that reverses. So now the E is not on a line, it's in a space. And the F isn't in a space, it's on a line. That's just something to remember. You've got E in the middle register, it's in the top space. Then you have F on the next line, G is just above the stave actually, and then you've got A, which is the first ledger line note, what we call a ledger line, which is a note that's above the stave. You need to memorise those so that when you see them in the music, you can play them. So they will sound like this. Now I have my jaw forward for that. If I was to put it back, that's how it would sound. So I hope that helps. You start on the middle register notes, and remember, make a small aperture hole. That's what you're aiming for, something very, very small. Okay, bye for now.